Chapter 2 The Adolescent Scholar. After the departure of Jagannath Mishra, Nimai's naughty behavior subsided. He became assiduous in following the duties prescribed for the Brahminical order, such as regularly performing Sandhya Vandana, and avoided the association of irreligious persons. Footnote: Sandhya Vandana, prayers offered 3 times daily by Brahmanas. End footnote. He opened a school for teaching Sanskrit and insisted that his students adhere to high standards. If any pupil came to school without tilak, he would send him home to return only after having applied it. Nimai was diligent in study and never wasted time in idle gossip, nor would he ever look lustfully at or dally with women. Nimai took pleasure in debating with the many scholars of Navadip and was so incisive that others were afraid to meet him. He would make a statement and ask the Pandits to refute it. After they did, Nimai would defeat their argument with another one and then challenge them to counter his new position. But nobody could overcome him, so he would rebut his own contention. He soon became renowned as Nimai Pandit and indeed behaved with the arrogance of a proud young Pandit. A Vaishnav of Navadip named Shivas Pandit once met Nimai on the path to the Ganga and petitioned, "My dear Nimai, everything about you is laudable. You belong to a respectable Brahmana family and excel in academics and religious duties. If you would only become a Vaishnav, then your studies, aristocracy, and all else would be perfect. Don't you know that without worshipping Krishna, all learning is useless? The goal of scholarship is Krishna. If you simply amass knowledge without dedicating your life to Krishna, you will become arrogant." Nimai replied, "My dear Shrivas, if I could get the blessings and association of pure devotees like yourself, then surely I could develop Krishna Bhakti." Nimai delighted in inviting sannyasis and learned men to his home for prasad. One such guest was Ishwar Puri, a sannyasi disciple of the exalted Vaishnav renunciate Madhavendra Puri. Ishwar Puri has written a book called Shri Krishna Leela Amrita, which he showed to Nimai. "Unlike you, I am not adept in Sanskrit, but I have drafted this manuscript. Please go through it and correct any errors." Nimai replied, "My dear sir, you are a great devotee, so there can be no mistake in your expression. Even if superficially there is some flaw, your writing is perfect because it is inspired by Krishna." Nimai used to stroll around the city and mingle with all kinds of people, irrespective of their caste or background. He would visit the homes of lepers, milkmen, merchants, garland makers, and others, charming everyone and endearing himself to all by his sweet dealings. Wherever he went, people offered him gifts. Upon once encountering an astrologer, Nimai asked for information about his past life. The astrologer calculated and then in meditation saw this beautiful young Brahmana boy as the absolute truth, the source of all universes. Astonished, He reverentially addressed Nimai. You are the supreme personality of Godhead, the master and controller of all. Nimai replied, You are not a good astrologer. I happen to know that in my previous life, I was a cowherd boy. An elevated devotee named Sridhara lived in Navadip. He supported himself by selling radishes, bananas, banana stalks, and banana leaf cups. Despite his paltry income, half of whatever he earned, he would use for worshipping Mother Ganga. Every night, he would loudly cry out, Hari Narayana. Their sleep being disturbed, his neighbors would grumble. Wretched Sridhar is calling out in distress because his stomach is empty and he cannot sleep. Nimai loved Sridhar very much, but would repeatedly tease him. He would snatch vegetables from him and then offer a price far below their value. He once asked Sridhar, Why are you worshipping Lakshmi Narayan? What is the use of such adulation? They don't give you anything. You are such a poor man. You live in such a run-down house. Why don't you supplicate the demigods? They could help you. Sridhar replied, My dear Nimai Pandit, time respects nobody. Whether one is rich or poor, animal or bird, time keeps him engaged in reaping the results of his previous activities. Both man and animal enjoy life by eating, drinking, sleeping, and other sensual enjoyments. But Lord Sri Hari can be worshipped only by human beings. So humans who do not worship Krishna are no better than animals. That is why I don't care about my home or material condition. I worship Krishna without desire for anything material. Nimai jokingly retorted, You are a cheater. You have plenty of hidden treasure and are just pretending to be a destitute. If you don't give me a share of your riches, I will expose you to others. I am a poor man, Sridhar replied. How can I offer you anything? You are a respectful Brahmana. Why are you behaving like this? But Nimai would persist in his demands, and in the end, Sridhar would give in. Take any vegetable you want. So every day, Nimai would take freely from him. Who do you think I am? Nimai would ask Sridhar. You are a young Brahmana boy, part and parcel of Krishna. No, you are wrong. I am the maintainer of the Ganga who you worship. Unable to comprehend the truth of such words, Sridhar would cover his ears with his hands and shout, Vishnu, Vishnu, what are you speaking? How can you claim to be God? Usually, as people grow older, they become wiser, but in you I find the opposite to be true. Sridhar could not recognize that the Lord of his heart had come to joke with him. Nimai married Lakshmi Priya, the same girl whom in childhood he had encountered on the bank of the Ganga. As an ideal wife, Lakshmi Priya faithfully performed her household duties and was always respectful towards Mother Sachi. Devoted to her husband, Lakshmi Priya cooked her Lord's meal and happily served his guests. Every day, Nimai entertained many guests and also generously gave food and clothing to the poor. Sachi Devi worried, How can we maintain such a lifestyle? We have no land or fixed income. Nimai would assure her, Mother, please do not fret. Lord Krishna is the maintainer of the entire universe. If we depend on him, surely he will manage everything for us. And it so happened that many unsolicited gifts kept coming to Nimai's house, ostensibly to teach and thus earn some income for his household. Nimai decided to go to East Bengal. Although his undisclosed motive was to spread the chanting of the holy names in that province. During his sojourn in East Bengal, many came to hear from this noted scholar of Navadip. All became joyful by seeing his radiant golden form and hearing his wonderful scriptural explanations. Whoever saw the Lord could not turn his eyes away from him. The women folk would say, I offer my respectful obeisances to the blessed woman who gave birth to such a son, and that fortunate and glorious lady who is his wife has certainly made her birth as a woman an outstanding success. Innumerable people offered abundant gifts to Nimai: gold, silver, water pots, sitting mats, rugs, and many varieties of clothing. Each happily presented the best of his possessions to the Lord. In East Bengal lived a Brahmana named Tapan Mishra. Eager to determine the meaning of life and how to attain it, he studied many books. But the more he read, the more he became confused. One night, in a dream, a divine being directed him, Mishra, why are you reading so many books? Nimai Pandit is nearby. He can answer all your questions and solve all your problems. Go visit him. The next morning, Tapan Mishra approached Nimai and told him of his situation. Nimai explained that the meaning of life cannot be ascertained by becoming a bookworm. In Kali Yuga, one should simply chant the holy names of the Lord, as stated in Brihan Naradiya Puran, Harir Naam, Harir Naam eva kevalam, Kalau nasti eva, nasti eva gatir anyatha. In this age of Kali, the only means of deliverance is to chant the holy names, chant the holy names, chant the holy names of Lord Shri Hari. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Nimai advised Tapan Mishra to constantly chant the Maha Mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and assured him that thereby he could achieve all success. Tapan Mishra expressed a desire to renounce the world and follow Nimai, but Nimai directed him to settle in Varanasi, where they would meet in the future. While Nimai was in East Bengal, Lakshmi Priya's feeling of intense separation from him assumed the form of a snake, whose bite took her life. When Nimai returned to Navadip with much accumulated wealth, he consoled his mother and on her request remarried. Nimai's wedding festival was one of the greatest ever seen in Bengal. His new wife's name was Vishnu Priya. Sometime later, an exceptional scholar from Kashmir, Keshav Kashmiri, visited Navadip. He was a Digvijay Pandit, one who has overcome all others in debate. Keshav Kashmiri would go from place to place, challenging and defeating whoever dared to stand before him. Hearing of his arrival, all the savants of Navadip fled, thus leaving young Nimai as the only remaining Pandit in town. One evening, while wandering with his students on the bank of the Ganga, Nimai met Keshav Kashmiri. After offering respect, Nimai asked him to demonstrate his scholarship by reciting some verses in praise of Mother Ganga. Within half an hour, Keshav Kashmiri composed 100 verses. Nimai then requested him to further demonstrate his skills by selecting any one of those verses and analyzing its qualities and faults. Keshav Kashmiri asserted that the verses were flawless. When Nimai repeated one of the stanzas, the Pandit became astonished. How could you recall it? I uttered those verses like the blowing wind. How can you recall even one of them? Nimai replied, As you are blessed by the goddess of learning, Mother Saraswati, so am I. I am a Shrutidhar, one who perfectly remembers everything he hears. Keshav Kashmiri proceeded to analyze the verse, pointing out the merits of the Sanskrit composition. There is not even a trace of error in it, he concluded. If you do not mind, Nimai suggested, I could also say something about this stanza. Thinking that a young boy had no right to comment on the poetry of such a famous scholar as himself, the Digvijay Pandit was reluctant to let Nimai speak. Nimai first described some merits which Keshav Kashmiri had not mentioned, but then exposed some serious defects in the oration. Actually, it has unlimited faults, he averred. I am merely pointing out the main ones. The speechless Pandit returned to his residence and worshipped Saraswati, praying, Until now, you have blessed me to conquer all other intellectuals, but today you have insulted me through the mouth of a young boy. What offense have I committed against you? That night, Saraswati appeared to Keshav Kashmiri in a dream. Keshav, she declared, He who has defeated you is the object of my worship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You should surrender to him. The next morning, Keshav Kashmiri humbly approached Nimai, who politely accepted the world-conquering scholar's submission. Nimai's reputation in Navadip was now unassailable.